Hecate is one of the most mysterious and ancient goddesses in Greek mythology, the goddess of magic, moonlight, the underworld, crossroads, and secret knowledge. She has a complex, multifaceted nature and is considered both a protectress and a goddess of dark forces. Origin in different sources. Hecate has varying origins. In some accounts, she is the daughter of Perses and Asteria, titans associated with the stars and night. In others, she appears even before the Olympian gods and, unlike the titans, was not overthrown by Zeus, but instead received honor and respect from him. Her cult likely came from Caria, where she was worshipped as a great goddess of the night. Domains of influence. Hecate is a goddess who unites the worlds of light and darkness. 1. Magic and witchcraft. She is the patroness of witches, rituals, spells, prophecy, and mystical knowledge. She received nighttime offerings, especially during the new moon. 2. The underworld and death. Hecate is associated with the underworld, spirits, and ghosts. She could accompany the souls of the dead, either protecting or punishing them. 3. The moon. Often linked to moonlight, especially the dark and unpredictable side of the moon. Along with Artemis and Selene, she is sometimes part of a triple moon goddess trinity. 4. Crossroads and choice. Hecate is the goddess of crossroads, places where roads meet, symbolizing choice, transitions, and portals between worlds. Her statues were often placed at three-way crossroads to protect from evil. Appearance and symbolism. Depictions. She is often shown with three faces or three bodies, looking in different directions, symbolizing omniscience and control over the three realms: the sky, the earth, and the underworld. Attributes: torch, snakes, keys, dagger, dogs, and wolves. Animal companions. Most often a black dog or an owl, symbols of nocturnal wisdom. Cult and worship. She was offered nighttime sacrifices, especially at crossroads. In Rome, she was associated with the goddesses Trivia or Proserpina. She was honored as a goddess of protection from evil spirits, yet also feared due to her connection with dark magic. She was popular among women, midwives, healers, witches, and mystics. Hecate in modern culture. She has become an archetype of the witch and the wise woman in psychology and esotericism. In neo-pagan traditions, Hecate is revered as a triple goddess, connected to the cycles of nature, death, and rebirth. Hecate's character is complex, multifaceted, and deeply symbolic. She is an ambiguous goddess, embodying both light and darkness, grace and threat, wisdom and mystical power. Her nature reflects both the role of a supreme protectress and a dangerous ruler of the liminal world. Key traits of her character. 1. Wise and far-seeing. Hecate has an all-seeing gaze. Her three faces or bodies symbolize her ability to see the past, present, and future. She is the bearer of hidden knowledge, spiritual intuition, and mystical logic. 2. Independent and autonomous. She does not submit to other gods, not even to Zeus. Her power is authentic and personal. She acts on her own, guided by her own will. 3. Dark but not evil. Hecate deals with death, shadows, and the underworld, but she does not destroy. She protects the boundaries between worlds. She represents dark wisdom that embraces the natural cycles of life and death without fear. 4. Protective and just. She protects the vulnerable, women, children, the lonely, and travelers. Her strength lies not in aggression, but in inner power and readiness to intervene at critical moments. She was invoked for cleansing from evil forces and curses. 5. Mystical and transformational. Hecate governs transitions, symbolizing initiation, change of states, and inner transformation. She is the archetype of the woman who leads others through darkness into a new state of being. Summary. Hecate's character is a fusion of wisdom and intuition, strength and independence, a dark aspect that brings healing transformation, protection that comes during moments of loss, decision, or crisis. The archetype of Hecate is the archetype of the shadow wise woman, the guide through darkness, the high witch, and the guardian of thresholds. She symbolizes deep processes of inner transformation, mystical knowledge, transitions, and the cycles of life. Key archetypal roles of Hecate. 1. Guardian of thresholds and transitions. Hecate stands at the border between worlds, life and death, the conscious and the subconscious, light and darkness. She embodies the moments of choice, entering a new phase of life, or going through initiation. Archetypal function. Guidance during crisis, transformation through chaos, help in the death of the old and the birth of the new. 2. Archetype of dark wisdom. Hecate knows what is hidden. She holds the keys to deep truths, the psyche, and the shadow aspects of the self. She does not fear darkness, for she sees it as a source of rebirth. Archetypal function. Integration of the shadow, accepting the self fully, even the frightening, forgotten, or rejected parts. 3. High Witch. Magical mentor. Hecate is a teacher and guide of witches, healers, and priestesses. She empowers those who seek spiritual autonomy and knowledge beyond the ordinary. Archetypal function. Awakening of intuition, mystical power, and connection to hidden wisdom. 4. Triple goddess. Hecate often embodies the three phases of womanhood. Maiden. Mother. Crone. She represents the full cycle of life, its change, and its completion. Archetypal function. Reminder of natural cycles, acceptance of change, aging, and endings. In psychology, Hecate is the archetype of deep feminine psyche, the animus in shadow or the shadow aspect of the Great Mother. She teaches how to move through the dark parts of the soul, not to be broken, but to be transformed. When the Hecate archetype manifests in a person. During times of loss, crossroads, psychological death, and rebirth. In moments of initiation, self-discovery, or spiritual awakening. When a person feels a calling toward mysticism, deep healing, magic, or depth psychology. Hecate is one of the few goddesses in Greek mythology who does not have a single canonical myth with vivid adventures, like Athena or Artemis. She appears more often as a background yet powerful force, a mystical guide and guardian of the boundaries between worlds. Her image is formed through fragments in various myths and ritual traditions. Her most well-known appearance is in the myth of Persephone's abduction, which reveals her cosmic role and connection with the underworld. The myth of Persephone's abduction. 1. The abduction. Persephone is abducted by Hades, god of the underworld, while she is gathering flowers in a meadow. The earth opens up, and he pulls her into the darkness. 2. Hecate comes to help Demeter, Persephone's mother, is in despair and searches for her daughter. Hecate is the only one who heard Persephone's cry at the moment of her abduction, though she did not see what happened. She comes to Demeter carrying a torch, saying she heard something terrible take place. 3. Guide between worlds. Hecate accompanies Demeter to Aelios, who saw everything. This is how they learn that Persephone is in the underworld. Hecate becomes a link between Demeter and Hades. 4. After Persephone's return. When Persephone returns to the surface, Hecate becomes her constant companion, especially during her time in the realm of the dead. Symbolism. Hecate is the goddess who does not fear the dark, who walks between worlds, and helps people through crisis and magical transitions. Other mentions of Hecate. 1. Hecate, goddess of crossroads. At three-way crossroads, people offered her night sacrifices, asking her to protect travelers and ward off evil spirits. 2. Hecate, patroness of magic. In the Hellenistic era and ancient magical traditions, she was revered as the ruler of necromancy, curses, and prophecy. She is frequently invoked in magical spells, with her name used as a protective and mysterious force. Meaning of the myth. Hecate is not the heroine at the center of events. She enhances, protects, and guides. She is the power that hears when others do not, that sees what is hidden. Her torch is the light in the darkness, a symbol of the inner path to truth. The archetype of Hecate manifests in the modern person through deep intuition, the ability to navigate dark periods of life, the power of transformation, and inner wisdom. It is the archetype of a person who is unafraid of the shadow, their own or others, and who can act as a guide for others in times of crisis, loss, or profound change. Here's how the Hecate archetype appears in modern people. 1. Guide through darkness. A person who has experienced inner crises, pain, loss, but has gone through them and now knows how to guide others. Often chooses professions related to depth psychology, therapy, esotericism, or energy practices. Expression: I know what darkness is. But I am not afraid of it, I can help you walk through it. 2. Intuitive wisdom and mystical insight. A person with a strong sixth sense, who often just knows without needing proof. Can see symbols, patterns, signs of fate, read the energy of people and spaces. Drawn to mysticism, divination, dreams, and prophetic feelings. Expression: I dreamed about this. I knew it would happen. 3. Guardian of personal boundaries and space. A person who has a clear sense of their emotional, spiritual, and physical boundaries. Does not allow toxic influences into their life, protects others, especially children, women, and animals. Has strength without aggression, control without violence. Expression: This is my space. It will be safe here, or it won't exist at all. 4. Embodiment of transition and transformation. A person who has undergone major life changes in identity, beliefs, path, appearance. Not afraid to say, I am no longer who I was. A symbol of inner rebirth. Expression: The old me died. The new one was born from the ashes. 5. Serving the invisible. A person who does not work for fame, but for a deeper purpose. May seem invisible, but their influence is profound and transformative. Often lives with a hidden side, unseen by most, yet it is the source of their strength. Expression: You don't have to see me for me to change the space. In summary, the Hecate archetype in modern people is a shadow therapist, a woman of transition, a mystical healer witch shaman, an intuitive leader, a protector of the spiritual and psychic space. The archetype of Hecate reveals deep psychological and spiritual blocks in the modern person, often connected to the shadow aspects of the self, transformational crises, fear of the unknown, and intuitive potential that frequently remains hidden. These are the key blocks that the archetype of Hecate helps bring to light, clear, or transform. 1. Fear of darkness manifestation. A person is afraid of their dark emotions, anger, pain, jealousy, sexuality, sorrow. They suppress negative feelings and don't allow themselves to be fully authentic. Work with Hecate. Self-acceptance in full. Integrating the shadow is the path to true power. Reflection question: What part of myself am I afraid or ashamed of? 2. Blocked past unprocessed pain manifestation. A person avoids facing grief, loss, betrayal, but this blocks their growth. Unresolved traumas remain in the subconscious, unhealed. Hecate brings to light what was repressed, helping the person walk the path of healing. Reflection question: What unfinished stories in my life are still waiting to be lived through? 3. Transition block. Fear of change manifestation. A person is afraid to leave the old behind, relationships, roles, careers, even though they feel internally that it's no longer right. They become stuck between the past and the future. As the goddess of crossroads, Hecate gives the courage to step into the unknown. Reflection question: Where am I holding on to the old, even though my soul craves something new? 4. Suppressed intuition mystical vision block manifestation. A person does not trust their sixth sense, dreams, or inner signals. They rely only on logic, ignoring deeper wisdom. Hecate opens the channel to intuitive knowledge, spiritual gifts, and feminine insight. Reflection question: When was the last time I truly trusted my intuition, and what was it telling me? 5. Power and self-protection block manifestation. A person cannot say no, set boundaries, or stand up for themselves, often due to fear, guilt, or trauma. They allow others to invade their space or energy. Hecate, as guardian, teaches how to be vulnerable but not defenseless. Reflection question: do I allow myself to protect my space and energy without shame? Summary: the archetype of Hecate reveals blocks in the inner shadow and self-rejection, unhealed wounds and emotional pain, fear of change and transitions, suppressed intuition and spiritual insight, inability to protect one's own space and energy.